Hello beautiful people and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to be doing my first ranking video. I've had this video on my list of videos to do for a little while now, but I have never gotten around to it and I'm feeling like I want to. I've been in the filming mood lately. Yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I only have 5 Pat McGrath palettes, so that's the brand we're doing today, as you can tell by the title. I think next I'm going to do my Natasha Denona palettes, which I think is going to be a bit bigger of a harder video to do just because I have a lot more of those palettes. And then I might do ABH and maybe Huda Beauty, depends. That's really all the main brands that I have. I used to have a lot of Urban Decay, but not so much anymore. Their palettes haven't really been inspiring me with their newest launches over the past couple to several years. I used to be a huge fan of them back 7 years ago even. Anyways, they just kind of fell off the map for me, but that is a video for another time. Let's get right into it. So the first palette I'm going to talk to you about, the palette that ranks in number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just finished telling you how many palettes I had. But anyways, so the fifth palette, I mean, I do like all of these. I like all of them for different reasons, and I like some of them more obviously for the ones that are going to be in the top spot. But the first palette is this one here, and I don't know which one this one is. I will have a name of it here because I don't remember any of them. They don't have the name on it at all, at least not with the older ones. Nope, it just says Mothership. That's it. So this, I think, was my first or second purchase from Pat McGrath. And I was initially attracted to these 4 shades here. Am I holding this up properly? These 4 shades here. That lovely pink, that gold, that white frosty with like blue sparkle in it, and then this blue shade. So that's initially why I bought this palette, for those shades here. The other ones I was like, yeah, I can get on board with that. But then I got it and I realized I'm not really into cool tones as much as I thought. So that's why this palette ranks last, because it does have all these cooler shades here. I don't really ever use a black. This shade I found slightly dry and just lackluster on my lid. I really can only use this when I top it with, say, that one. And even then I just don't do that a lot. That's a really cool shade, like cool tone. I don't really use cool tone browns a lot, if ever, just because my looks do tend to be more on the colorful side. That is a nice neutral color, but again, I don't really go for any really neutral looks on a daily basis. And then this taupe color is nice, but I just don't go for those colors. So because of that, in this shade, I just find all of these corner shades in the Pat McGrath palettes I do find slightly drier and not as workable on my eyelids, but I'm trying to make them work. Sorry, I'm not trying. I do try to make it work, but every time I use it, I'm just like, I just always find myself reaching for something else. So this is my least favorite from Pat McGrath, but I do still like it. I do still reach for these shades the most often. Not so often these colors. So that is the eyeshadow palette that is in 5th place. The eyeshadow palette in 4th place is the other one I bought. I think this might have been the first, that might have been the second, or that might have been the first, and this might have been the second, but between these two palettes, these are my first purchases from Pat McGrath, back when these first came out. Now I do like this palette a little bit more, just because it does have a few more shimmers and warm tones. Again, I don't really use a black all that often, but I'm a huge fan of this 4 quad here. I do like this gray here, even though I don't use gray a lot. That is a nice warm brown. That is a nice warm brown with shimmer in it. And then of course this purple here is actually what I have. This palette is actually what I have on my eyes today, along with 1 or 2 shades from a couple more palettes that I'll be getting into in a couple moments here. But I also have that tapped on the inner center of this look here. I have a tutorial on this look. But yeah, that is why I like this palette. It's a little more warmer and has a little more shimmers in it and more colors that I wear, even though I don't tend to go for the browns a whole heck of a lot. I love that green. I'm going to do a look with this tomorrow. We'll see. But yeah, again, this shade here, I don't tend to use a whole... A bug just flew in my mouth. Or my lip. Ugh. Gross. Fruit fly? Anyways, this shade here, it's a little more creamier than the other one, but I still don't love the way the texture looks on my lids or the way the color turns out, so I don't tend to use that a lot. Maybe I should start, but that is the palette that's going to rank at number 4. The palette that ranks at number 3 is this, I think this is called Decadence palette, that was also re-released as the Star Wars palette. I'm not entirely sure. I didn't get the Star Wars palette just because I have this one. The reason why this one comes in 3rd place is because it is an all shimmer palette, and that is why I bought it. This gold is beautiful. I love it. That silver, when I do go for silver, it's a beautiful silver. And this palette also smells like vanilla. I'm a sucker for that smell. This shade here, it's like a coppery, I can't describe the shade, but this is like one of the most unique shades in my collection. It's like a peachy but coppery, and like, I just can't even really describe it, but it is so unique and I love that shade. I love this shade also. I don't really use that. I think it's called Blue Blood. This one's a little dry. I don't really use that a whole heck of a lot. And again, taupe, I don't really wear taupe, but you know, if I want it, I have it. That's a nice red shade. Back when this first came out, these weren't really popular in a lot of palettes, so it was really special back in the day, but now I feel like I have a lot of palettes with reds in it, but it's still very nice. This is a nice silvery plummy color. Beautiful color there. And then this teal is just delicious. Like, if I want a really poppin' teal shade, this is the teal. Like, oh, so beautiful, so pigmented, so creamy. That actually would be a pretty look with those 3 colors on there. I don't even want to wipe it off. So gorgeous. But anyways, this is the palette that comes in at number 3 for me. I'm so glad that this still smells like vanilla after all this time. Okay, now, for these last 2, 1 and 2, it was a toss-up for me. I actually had to go and decide which one I've actually been reaching for more within the past 6 months, I would say. And that is the reason why I placed 1 in number 2, and then obviously the number 1 in the number 1 spot. So in number 2, that could have very easily taken number 1 spot, is my Bronze Seduction. This palette is just gorgeous. I love, well, except for, I love all the shades in here. This one is a little bit easier to work with. I do like the color, but again, like, I find that is my least favorite shade in all of these Pat McGrath palettes. It doesn't have a black, so that's nice. This is the purple shade that I used in the crease today. These 2 warm browns are beautiful. When I do want to use this palette, when I do use those, I'm always so impressed by the blendability of them. They're beautiful. Like, I'm not really a brown eyeshadow wearer kind of girl, but these 2 just blend out so beautiful, and I just love wearing them. Another red that's nice, that green color here, and this gold are just like the stars of the palette, I think, along with that rose gold color and that, like, just beautiful. Let me give you a couple swatches here. Just beautiful palettes. Colors. And then, yeah, a really nice goldy bronze shade and another cooler tone bronze shade. Just a beautiful palette. Like, I like to pull this out when I'm doing like festive holiday looks, or just, you know, if I'm looking for like a really sparkly rose gold, I pull this one out, or like if I want to add a nice goldy green, I use this palette. When I first started using this, I found it a little bit patchy, but I found a trick to use it, taking your time and using the right brush with it, and just beautiful. Love it. Number 2 palette. Okay, and then for the last palette, if you watch my videos, you know the only one that's left is the Divine Rose 2, and the only reason why I put this in the number 1 position is because I use this palette a lot more than I anticipated. I love the gold. I love all these shades. I mean, that one, the shade that everyone went crazy for, I didn't go crazy for it, but it is a pretty color. I do love all the rest of these colors. They're just, even that one, even though, like, again, that is my least favorite color in all of the palettes, I do like to use this on my lower lash line. I just find I have to build it up, and it does create a little bit of texture just because it is a thicker formula, and I think that's the reason why I don't love the formula, because I have slightly textured eyes. And by the way, my arm is getting a workout because these palettes are actually heavy, and I'm holding every palette up while I talk about it, so my arm's getting kind of sore. But anyways, so yeah, I think that's the reason why I don't like those shadows in the palette as much because they are thicker, and my eyes tend to perform better with thinner eyeshadows because it doesn't show up as much texture. But anyways, I also have this color here too on my lower lash line and blend it out a little bit with the other crease color. This shade is beautiful. This one actually really surprised me. That one I knew I would love. This one is a little more sheer than I had anticipated, but it's still such a gorgeous color, and you can wear it like all over the lid. You can add it to the crease. Like, you can use this shade like in multiple different ways. I mean, every eyeshadow you can do that with, but I do like the versatility of this shadow. Sometimes, I don't know what I'm about to try and say here, but it is rather sheer, but you can build it up, and that's why it works. I can use it because it does have shimmer to it, but I do like to put sheens and shimmers in my crease, so it works for me. And then this gold is just beautiful. That peach looks amazing on my skin tone, and with my eyes I just find whenever I create like peachy looks with this, I just find it looks like it's subtle, but it's enough pow that like even satisfies my makeup craving style, because I like makeup looks that have just a little bit extra to it, and this palette, although subtle for me, definitely does give that little extra pow that I'm looking for. So that is going to be the Pat McGrath palette in the #1 spot. That's it. That's all the, I have like dents in my hand from holding that palette up. Holding those palettes up. Anyways, guys, that is gonna wrap it up for this ranking, my very first ranking X brand in palette video. I'm making no sense right now. Sometimes when I wrap up videos, I'm like, what do I say? Anyways. Alright. That is it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. I had fun making it. The next one I'm going to do is probably going to be Natasha Denona. And like I said, that's going to be a little bit longer of a video because I have a lot more of her palettes. And I know a couple of them are going to be fighting for like different spots because I do like several of them all the same. So that's going to be a different, it's going to be a bit of a rough video to film. Not rough video to film, but you know, it's going to take a little more thought. Anyways, I'm going to wrap up this video before I ramble on anymore and make no sense. Thank you guys very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.